My friends, I need you to stop what you're doing right now and listen closely, because what I'm about to share with you today could genuinely affect how much money ends up in your bank account. And I mean that with everything I've got. I've been covering Social Security updates for a long time, and I can tell you that the buzz surrounding these new payment figures, $1,000, $2,000, even $3,000, has created more confusion, more worry, and more hope than almost anything I've seen in recent memory. People are calling their children, texting their neighbors, asking their doctors, "Did you hear about this? Am I going to get a check?" And I want to sit down with you right here as your trusted friend and cut through every single layer of confusion so you know exactly what is real, what is coming, and what you can do about it. Because here's the truth that nobody else is taking the time to tell you. These dollar amounts are real. They are being discussed in Washington. They are tied to proposals, adjustments, and existing programs that directly affect seniors on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and VA benefits. But whether any of this money lands in your pocket depends on your specific situation, your age, your income, your benefit type, and some decisions you may not even realize you can make. So I am going to walk you through all of it step by step, like we're sitting right here at the kitchen table together. Pour yourself a cup of coffee. Let's get into it. Let's start from the very beginning, because I know some of you saw that title and your heart started racing. When we talk about $1,000, $2,000, and $3,000 payments floating around in the news, we're actually talking about several different things happening at the same time, and it's important to understand the difference between them. The first thing is the current average benefit landscape. Right now, in 2025, the average Social Security retirement benefit for a retired worker is sitting right around $1,107 per month. For a married couple where both spouses receive benefits, that combined household income can easily push past $3,000 a month. For someone on SSDI, that's Social Security Disability Insurance, the average monthly payment is approximately $1,437. And for those of you on SSI, Supplemental Security Income, the maximum federal benefit rate for an individual is $943 per month in 2025, which can reach over $1,400 when states add their own supplemental payments on top. So when you hear $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, these are not random numbers pulled from thin air. They represent real payment tiers that real people are receiving or are on the edge of qualifying for. The question is, where do you fall, and is there anything changing that could move your number up? Now, let's talk about the cost of living adjustment, the COLA, because this is where millions of seniors saw a real, tangible change in their monthly income at the start of 2025. The Social Security Administration announced a 2.5% COLA increase effective January 2025. That might sound modest, but when you translate it into dollars, it starts to mean something real. If you were receiving $1,500 a month before the adjustment, that 2.5% COLA put an extra $37.50 in your pocket every single month. Over the course of a year, that's $450 that wasn't there before. If you were receiving $2,000, that COLA bumped you up by $50 a month, $600 over the year. And for those of you whose combined household benefit was around $2,800 before the adjustment, you may have crossed over that $3,000 monthly threshold for the first time. Think about what $600 a year means to a fixed income household. That's a utility bill. That's 3 months of prescription copays. That's a plane ticket to visit the grandkids. I want you to understand that these adjustments, even when they seem small on paper, add up to something meaningful over time. And you deserve to know exactly how they're affecting your specific check. Now, here is where I want to spend some serious time, because this is arguably the most significant development for certain Social Security recipients in decades, and a lot of people are still waking up to what it means for them personally. The Social Security Fairness Act was signed into law, and it eliminated 2 provisions that had been quietly reducing the benefits of millions of public sector workers, teachers, firefighters, police officers, and government employees for years. Those 2 provisions were called the Windfall Elimination Provision, the WEP, and the Government Pension Offset, the GPO. And I need you to pay close attention here, because if you or your spouse worked in the public sector and had a pension, this law may mean you are owed money, possibly thousands of dollars in retroactive payments. Here's what happened. The WEP used to reduce Social Security benefits for people who also received a pension from a job where they didn't pay into Social Security. Things like certain state and local government jobs, school systems in states like Ohio, Texas, and California. The GPO, on the other hand, reduced spousal and survivor benefits for those same workers. Some people had their Social Security checks cut by $500, $600, even $700 a month because of these two rules. And many of them had been living with that reduction for years without fully understanding why their check was so much lower than they expected. With the Social Security Fairness Act now in effect, those reductions are gone. The SSA has been working through a massive backlog of cases to recalculate benefits and issue retroactive payments going all the way back to the effective date of the law. People in affected categories are seeing lump sum checks arrive, some in the range of $5,000 to $7,000 or more, along with permanently higher monthly benefit amounts going forward. If this applies to you and you haven't heard from the SSA yet, I want you to call them or check your My Social Security account online at ssa.gov right away. Don't wait. Don't assume they've already figured it out. Be proactive. Now let's address the other thread of conversation around these payment tiers, because I know some of you have seen headlines and social media posts about $1,000 payments to seniors, to SSI recipients, or to Americans broadly, and you're wondering if there's something new coming your way. Here's where I have to be completely honest with you, because being honest is the only thing I care about. As of now, there is no universally approved, guaranteed $1,000 supplemental payment going out to all Social Security or SSI recipients that has been enacted into law. What there are, however, are several active policy conversations in Congress and at the state level, real discussions about direct relief payments, emergency SSI increases, and targeted cost of living supplements that are gaining traction and that could result in real money coming your direction, depending on how they develop. Several proposals have been floated that would provide one-time or recurring payments to seniors and people with disabilities to offset the rising costs of healthcare, housing, and food. Some states have already implemented their own supplemental payments to SSI recipients over and above the federal amount. And in some cases, those state supplements can add $200, $300, even $400 per month to what you receive from the federal government alone. If you live in states like California, New York, Massachusetts, or Connecticut, you may already be receiving more than the basic federal SSI amount and not fully realize it. What I want you to do is not wait for the headlines to confirm what might happen. I want you to make sure you are already receiving everything you are currently entitled to, because I have spoken with so many seniors over the years who were leaving money on the table simply because they didn't know to ask. One of the most heartbreaking things I encounter regularly is hearing from a senior who has been on Social Security for years and never knew there were additional credits, programs, or adjustments available to them. So let me go through some of the most commonly overlooked opportunities, because any one of these could represent that $1,000, $2,000, or even $3,000 difference in your annual income. First, if you're on SSI and you are not also enrolled in the Extra Help program for Medicare prescription drug costs, please stop reading right now and call 1-800-MEDICARE or your local Social Security office. Extra Help can save you up to $5,800 a year in drug costs. That is not a typo. Nearly $6,000 in annual savings that is available to qualifying SSI recipients and low-income Medicare beneficiaries. And millions of people who qualify are simply not enrolled. Second, if you are a veteran and you are receiving Social Security or disability benefits, you may also be entitled to VA pension benefits or aid and attendance allowances on top of what you're already getting. Aid and attendance alone can add over $2,000 a month to a veteran's household income, and it does not reduce your Social Security check. These are separate, stackable benefits. If you served, please call the VA at 1-800-827-1000 and ask specifically about the aid and attendance program. Do not assume you were already told about everything you qualify for. Third, if you were the lower earning spouse in your marriage and your husband or wife had a higher Social Security earnings record, you may be eligible for a spousal benefit that could be significantly higher than your own benefit. Up to 50% of your spouse's full retirement benefit may be available to you. And if your spouse has passed away, the survivor benefit could be up to 100% of what they were receiving. Every single dollar of that difference matters on a fixed income. And too many widows and widowers are still collecting only their own smaller benefit because nobody sat down and explained this to them. Now, I have to bring up something that can feel like a punch to the gut, but you need to know about it so you can plan around it. If your combined income, which the IRS defines as your adjusted gross income plus any non-taxable interest plus half of your Social Security benefits, exceeds $25,000 as an individual or $32,000 as a married couple filing jointly, then a portion of your Social Security benefits may be subject to federal income tax. For individuals between $25,000 and $34,000 of combined income, up to 50% of your benefits could be taxable. Above $34,000, that number jumps to 85%. I know that feels deeply unfair. You paid into this system your whole working life, and now the government wants a piece of it back. But planning for this reality can make a very real difference. Working with a tax preparer who specializes in retirement income, or simply adjusting your withholding through the SSA's voluntary withholding request form, that's Form W4V, can help you avoid a painful surprise at tax time and keep more of your monthly benefit in your pocket where it belongs. My friends, we've covered a lot of ground today, and I want to leave you with something you can actually act on, because information without action doesn't pay the bills. This week, I want you to log in to your My Social Security account at ssa.gov and review your benefit statement. Look at your current monthly amount. Check whether you're receiving everything you're entitled to, and see if there are any notices about recalculations related to the Social Security Fairness Act. If you worked in the public sector at any point in your life, or if your spouse did, this is especially urgent. Call your local state health insurance assistance program, SHIP, for free one-on-one help understanding your Medicare options, extra help eligibility, and any state supplements available in your area. And if you're a veteran, make that call to the VA this week. Don't put it off. The reality is that for many of you watching right now, the difference between what you're currently receiving and what you could be receiving with the right information and the right phone calls might genuinely be that $1,000, $2,000, or $3,000 a year we've been talking about. It's not always one big check. Sometimes it's $83 a month from extra help, plus $150 from a state supplement, plus $200 from a spousal benefit adjustment, and suddenly you're $433 a month better off. That is $5,196 a year. That is real money. That is your money. You earned every single penny of what these programs are meant to provide. My job, and my genuine privilege, is to make sure you know how to get it. Thank you for being here. Stay informed, take action, and take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next update.